Hello and welcome to the Dice Tower. I'm Wendy Yi.
And I'm Chris Yi.
And today we're going to be reviewing Calimala by Lupiano.
5-Year Lupiano and Alley Cat Games with the second edition of this game that's been around, has been out before. This is the first time that either of us have gotten to play it. It looks much nicer than the first edition.
I can't show you in the camera because it never shows up, but the rule book has all this like pretty shiny goldness to it.
Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. You know Tool, man. He rocks it.
You know, too. All right, so Wendy's going to show you how this game plays, and then we'll give you our thoughts.
Calimala is an area control game where players are vying for control over different cities, different chapels, and then also different types of resources across the board here. Now, the way they're going to be doing that is by taking turns with their family members over here. They're going to take a family member on a turn, and you're going to place it on one of these brown spaces or a tile that's already there. Now, let's say I choose to go over here. I then would look immediately to see if scoring happens. Now, scoring hasn't happened yet because there's only a stack of 2 previous tiles on this spot. However, if there was a stack of 3, I would trigger scoring. I'll show you that later. But then you're going to go ahead and take actions starting from the person on top of the stack of the adjacent spaces over here. So this one would gain me 1 marble and 1 stone. Then the next player in this stack who already got to go to this spot earlier will also gain a marble and stone. And then finally the bottom one is going to gain a marble and stone as well. Now we also have these contractor workers over here. These are neutral workers that double up the action spaces. So let's say in a future turn, purple were to come over here and they were to play this neutral worker. They would first look for scoring. Now, because there are 3 stacks, it's so hard to see, I'm sorry. Because there are 3 on the stack previous to placing this one, scoring would trigger. And so the bottom person is going to be bumped out. That bottom player will then be placed in the next scoring tile up here. Now, these scoring tiles start with the top row, working left to right, and then middle and bottom. So they're going to go over here and go ahead and kick out Bruges. And now they have basically some area control that's up here. And this is going to be used for breaking ties during the game. And it is its own little mini game. So Bruges gets kicked out. It will immediately score. Bruges is this over here. Only players that have these little trading posts over here can actually add cubes. And so we immediately look to see who has the most cubes. Yellow has first place, so they would gain 3 points. Orange has second place, so they would gain 2. And then purple has no influence over here, so they would gain no points and not even have a third place. After that scores, then you go ahead and go down the whole stack like previously. So this contractor tile will give 2. So purple would actually gain 2 marble. Max of 4 can be in these spots, so they've maxed out there. And then they would gain 2 stone as well. And then once again, purple would go. So that's the same person. They're maxed out now. So this was probably not a wise idea. They cannot add more to the stone or the marble. And then yellow would go. Now, because purple could not actually take a turn, they have the option instead to come over here with the actions and take one of these cards. You get to have maximum 1 card per turn, so even though they missed 2 actions, they can't just take 2 more cards. These cards can be used on your turn as just extra actions. These actually match the action spaces that are over here, and there's some pretty basic ones that are set up at the beginning specifically, but then the rest of the deck is just shuffled. All right, so let's talk about what these basic actions are. We have gaining basic resources, which I showed you are these spots down here. Then we have gaining cloth. So this one says you gain a cloth per warehouse that you have. Now you start the game with only 1 warehouse, and you can choose to build more throughout the game. And so you're going to gain 1 cloth per warehouse. So I would actually be gaining 3 cloth right now, and I can split those up between all my warehouses. It doesn't really matter where they're stored as long as I have storage space for them. Hopping down here, this is actually where you build warehouses, boats, and trading posts. Like I mentioned before, warehouses up here, you start the game with no boats, and then also none of these trading posts. And the cost is right here, so you can choose to build one of those buildings for that cost. Hopping down here, this is actually where you build warehouses, boats, and trading posts. Like I mentioned before, warehouses up here, you start the game with no boats, and then also none of these trading posts. And the cost is right here, so you can choose to build one of those buildings for that cost. Like I mentioned, warehouses help you gain and hold more cloth. Boats help you deliver over here to these 3 seafaring areas. And then finally, the trading posts go into specific cities over here so that you can deliver to those cities directly. Speaking of delivering, let's talk about the 4 delivery actions that are right here. We have the basic goods. These come, once again, from these spaces down here on the bottom of your board, and they can go out anywhere in their line. So if I want to place out a wood, I can place it anywhere in any one of these chapels. The statue line works similarly, only it's not just in the 3 chapels, but it's also in the Palazzo Vecchio, or Vecchio. And this is going to help to also add to the area majority thing that's going on over here that will be tiebreakers in the future. Next, we have the ships over here. And so basically for each ship that you have, you can deliver 1 cloth to any combinations of cities over here that you want. And then finally, we have the cloth per trading post. This one works a little bit different because you can only deliver a cloth where you have trading posts, and you can only deliver 1 cloth per. So I could deliver 1 to Troy and 1 to Hamburg if I was purple. However, if I was yellow, I could deliver 3. I could deliver 1 to each city. Play is going to continue until all of these little scoring tiles have been scored or until a player has used all of their workers. The round will finish, and then final scoring has to do with these cards. Everyone's going to have a secret card that's going to have a special scoring at the end that hopefully they've been working towards the whole game. And then there's also going to be some face-up cards on the side. There happens to be 1 in a 3-player game that players know about from the beginning. There you go. That's a brief overview of Calimala. All right, so this game has a lot of area majorities. Like that is the entire game. It is Euro area majority.
Yeah, well, it's all of the scoring, and then the worker placement kind of thing to it has an interesting bump out mechanism, and you know what I mean? Like you get to reactivate other people's workers.
Which is its own area majority.
Yeah, in
a way.
Once
they bump out.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that tiebreak. Anyway, so yeah, I think that, yes, so it's all majorities. You got to like that. You got to know what you're going into.
There's no fighting. There's no removing cubes. There's none of that. Like, when I think of area majority games, I often think of, like, very trashy games. This is not like that. This is...
Well, that tends to be what people call, like, area control.
Yeah, that's true.
Then this is majorities. Once you put your cubes in a spot, they're there. And if you lock in a majority, you're like, looks like that area is mine. And then you realize, well, that area only scores once.
And is worth 3 points maximum or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, so if someone runs away in one area, it's not the end of the game. But yeah, this is one where it is kind of hard to catch up when someone's like doing really well in a aspect of the board.
Well, what I think is interesting is that because you know exactly what order everything's going to score in, you just don't know when that scoring is going to get triggered. You can think ahead, and so you obviously can't win everything.
Yeah.
But you have to make that choice of like, am I going to invest in a few specific things, including my card, which will end up scoring double, or am I going to try to do a lot of everything and just get those like little points?
Right. Like having a lot of second places is better than having very few first places because the point differentials is basically 1, 2, and 3 points. It's pretty minimal.
It is.
But they all add up. So by the end of the game, you've scored a lot of points. And it's not exactly like when people complain about a point salad game where every point feels unearned. What did you do this turn? I chopped wood and got 2 points. What did you do? I captured a fish and got 4 points.
Yeah.
It's definitely not that.
It's not. And I think that the tiebreakers, which I didn't really go into, I just basically said, like, this is for tiebreaking. The tiebreaking is so pivotal to this game. Mm-hmm. And there is like an 8-step process of how to break ties. And a lot of it has to do with those bumped out workers, of whoever has the majority, and then who's ever farthest ahead on the first one to have put it out, and then the statues come in. Like it's a process.
They want no ties in this game. You do not ever add up first and second place, divide points, and then the second place. No, none of that happens. There's a tiebreaker for it.
And I feel like it's a little over convoluted how many steps, but I feel like they're also relatively logical once you get them. So you have to like run through the list a few times, but you're also doing like 18 scoring rounds or 12 scoring rounds in a game. Like you eventually figure out the tiebreaker.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question about Ian O'Toole. it's no secret that we are huge fans of his work. He tends to do incredibly well in more difficult, complicated games. This is not really that difficult. Do you like the way that this looks and his touches, on the board and on the scoring and all?
Yeah, I feel like it's all very clear, like his iconography for the things originally. Like I looked at it and I was like, oh, I'm not sure what this icon is. But as soon as I understood what the icon was, like I read it, I was like, oh, that's logical. It makes sense.
It looks overcomplicated at first, and then it really isn't.
There's
in fact,
the 6 main regions of the board. Yeah.
Yeah. So my favorite part of this game is definitely the worker placement. You get to place in between 2 actions. You get to do both actions. That feels really good. Ooh, I want to take this action, but I can't do the other one next to it. Draw an action card. And that's a nice degree of flexibility. And when you have a bunch of action cards, it feels so good, even though that means, well, I underdid
I'm saving
some
those
actions
for later.
Yeah, I think that's a really good system. So you have a small bit of luck, and you might luck into some better actions, and you might not. And I feel like that evens out over the course of the game.
I think it allows you to have some really epic turns, too, because you can just play a bunch of those cards, and if you can line it up, you can really slip in and get one of those majorities.
Right.
Kind of plan things out. So I think the cards have such a pivotal, like they're so pivotal to the game, and I think they make the game a lot of fun. They add it so that they add to it so it's not just, I took a worker placement action. I think that it adds, some really interestingness to the turns.
Well, I love that your workers sit out there and they get stacked upon, and so when someone goes and takes an action, it's going to also activate the workers below it, so you get to take actions outside of turn sequence. That part is so fun to me. Unfortunately, I like that part much more than I like the majorities and the scorings and stuff. I think that part is okay, but I really like the action driving in this game.
Yeah, I think the worker placement is interesting, and it gives you that tactical choice of, do I want to try to get as many out underneath things as I can early on so that they can get into the tiebreaker area, or do I want to really focus in and start gaining the wood, start gaining the stone, start gaining the resources so that I can build up my engine, because I need to be able to get more of those factories out, more of the trading posts, more of the, or I guess they're warehouses, not factories. But yeah, the decision making in that space is so good. Also, you're giving so much positive interaction there because you're giving other people turns.
Yeah.
And so you're making those choices of, I really want this action. I can get to it from a couple different directions. So how can I benefit me the most?
Right, or do I have to take these 2 actions I really need to, but I'm going to benefit other players, especially with that bump out. Once there's 4 on a stack, that bump out, that leads directly to tie breaking, and that is my other issue with the game, is that I feel like if someone gets ahead on that first tiebreaker, it's really hard to flip that script on it.
It is, because everything is really close.
Yeah, things can be so
very common
close.
that you'll have 2 or 3 of something in an area. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that tiebreaker is very important. I think it's kind of neat that everything has the ties will all be broken, but if someone can kind of get ahead and stay ahead on it, they're going to get the 3 points constantly, and that's yeah. So I have a lot of things I like about the game, and I have those reservations and complaints.
All right, so what are you going to come in score-wise?
Score-wise, my final thoughts on it is I'm giving this one a 6.5. I like it. I really like that action driver. I wish I liked the game built around it more because it's smart. It's intelligent. It's clever. But I see, whenever I've played, I've seen people kind of get boxed out of things and have less fun. So I think that the fun factor at the table is a little more uneven. And you might just say it's a little bit more of an old school Euro game. That's how it's going to be. And that might be true. But for my tastes and for playing something that is this clever, I wish it was a bit more fun. So a 6.5. I still like it. Very close to even recommending it. But yeah, that's where I fall.
Okay, a little bit better than fine.
I think it's good, just not quite good enough for me.
For you to recommend it. Okay, cool. I'm coming in with a 7.5. I enjoyed the game, and I'm hit or miss with area majorities, but like you mentioned, the worker placement is so interesting. And the fact that I get to have turns on other people's turns always makes me happy. And I think that this game has a few of those really big feeling moments. If you can have those times where you use like what are they called? The little like double action workers. If you use a double action worker,
the neutral ones,
it gives you the neutral ones. They give you like super benefit if you can, compound that with some cards, with triggering a scoring. Like, you can have some really fun turns in this game. And I think there's those exciting moments. So yeah, 7.5 for me. I enjoyed it. I do recommend it.
All right, well, there you go. A high score of 7.5 gives Calimala here a seal of approval from us here at the Dice Tower. So yeah, if you haven't tried it out, go check out the second edition. If you have played it, go ahead and tell us what you think about it. Thanks for coming out. My name's Chris Yi.
I'm Wendy Yi.
We'll see you next time.
Alrighty, it's Game Found time. We really appreciate everyone that has donated to our Game Found this last year especially. So we want to thank Eldon Killian and Max Etsy.
We've also got Brian Luvesque from Chelsea, Quebec, up in Canada. Thank you all so much.
Appreciate you guys.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel, lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Vassell.